Can you discuss a few pitfalls to watch out for on the business side of storytelling? Because I think storytellers are artists. We're, filmmakers, we're just artists. We don't want to think about business or distribution let somebody else deal with that. What are some pitfalls that we should look at in this new world that we're walking into and that we're in currently? But I think that the two avenues between show and business are really starting to cross a lot more than before. So are there any pitfalls that you can kind of help us watch out for?
Yeah, my second last book was called, Sell Your Story to Hollywood, a writer's handbook to the business of show business.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell my clients that the more they know about business, the better they're going to be in terms of being in this business and making a living out of it. And people, like you said, they're not that interested in the business part of it. But to me, the most upsetting situation for a writer that they should be looking out for is what's called reversion. And that means that you sell your story, you get some money up front, which is option payment. You even may get the rights payment that occurs on the day of principal photography. But if something happens 3 weeks into that and the movie never gets finished, never gets shot, your story, which was brilliant enough to get somebody to invest a lot of money in it and to raise money for it, is suddenly in limbo. And I can't tell you how many wonderful stories I've sold in the past that are in limbo and are likely to stay there. There's one in particular that a new finance group approached me a few months ago and said, we want to make this movie. We almost made it 10 years ago, if you'll recall. And yes, I do recall it because we sold it to a distributor, and now it's in what's called turnaround, which means that the distributor has its clause on the story, and they will not release it to another financer without the financer paying not only how much money that studio had put into it, but also 10% interest a year since then. So it ends up being a ton of money, like 50 times the amount of money that they actually spent on it because of the interest. And that story basically is, can be gone forever in this limbo state. And it's something to really look at to make sure that your attorney, your agent, your manager has got a strong reversion clause that says something to the effect that if your movie is not made within 5 years of the date it was contracted for, that it will revert free and clear to you, as opposed to go into turnaround where the studio can hold it up, for money. And God, we must have a dozen great stories in that situation. And it's a huge thing to worry about. And of course, the other thing is to make sure that if you're a writer, especially of an animated film, that you are getting a true part of the back end of the story, meaning the profits of the movie. They so rarely does that happen in Hollywood that those points, as they're called, are referred to as monkey points, because I suppose only a monkey would believe that they're actually going to get those points. But if you have a really good attorney, there are things you can do to make sure that doesn't happen. And people don't really think about this on their first 2 or 3 deals, but after those deals, especially after something has happened to show them what they might have made had they had a better deal, they will get smart about it. And we try to educate our writers. And in fact, in that Real Fast Hollywood deal that we do online, it's a course in how to succeed in the business of show business, not just the show part, but the business part. Mm-hmm. And people do. I mean, obviously, people like Lucas and Spielberg have done pretty well for themselves because they went to business school and learned the business part of it.
Yeah, I was told years ago when I was meeting with an agent that he's like, when I'm looking for a creative, a writer, or a director, I'm looking for 3 people. I'm looking for a politician, I'm looking for an artist, and I'm looking for a businessman.
Yeah, exactly.
And isn't that? I think that was really great. It was a great window into what really is needed in this business, and is those 3 things. Because if you have just one of those, it won't work. You have to have all 3. Because a lot of people don't
Yeah.
talk about the politics behind the scenes. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. No, it is mostly, it is 90% of the effort. It's dealing with the people, dealing with the business. And honestly, when they say that creativity is, creative ideas are a dime a dozen, that isn't literally true, but maybe a quarter a dozen. There are lots and lots of ideas, and they never make it to the screen unless you have those other qualities of business and political savvy, how to deal with people. Because there's a set of rules about how to operate in Hollywood, and one of them is being a fun person to work with and staying off of everyone's life is too short list.
That's a great. I
You
like
know,
that. I like that term. Life is too. I've heard of the life is too short, but I've never heard it called the life is too short list.
Yeah,
Uh,
in one of my books, I talk about it and what it takes to get on that list. And at a certain point, no matter how creative you are and how brilliant your ideas are, nobody wants to hear from you.